baby, and we are back, everybody. Welcome back to Words with Wayman. I am your host, as always, Matt Wayman. Guys, thank you all so much for listening. Check us out, as always, online at Words with Wayman on Twitter, Words with Wayman on Facebook, everybody. Got a very, very special episode today, guys. Please get very excited. Fantastic guest. Pretty much Renaissance man of Denver, does it all. Businessman, self-made, semi-retired consultant. He started a consulting company. He does some image stuff now, life coaching. He really does it all, and he dabbles in comedy too. So I thought it'd be a perfect guest for this episode, guys. Please welcome Dylan Aames, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Congrats on your recent engagement.
I got engaged, everybody. My girlfriend's dad said I manned up, so I guess that's good. I'm excited about that. No, I'm super, super excited. She said maybe, so I'm taking it as a hard yes.
Nice.
But I think it's going to work out. But thank you for coming. As I always like to start it off in the beginning, back when you were a young boy, before you got into doing all this stuff, were you encouraged a lot? Did you have encouraging parents or teachers, or how did it kind of start for you?
Yeah, sort of. I thought you were going to start at conception. That's where I kind of think life starts.
Yeah,
but,
no, I already saw that video. You showed me the video earlier.
Yeah, Planned Parenthood?
No, the video of you and your dad, or your mom and your dad doing.
Oh, yeah, in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
It's fast. It's a quick video, but it's definitely worth watching.
But here I am. Yeah, no, supportive. Not really. I mean, my dad, not really.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my dad are interesting. It's an interesting dynamic because my mom is like, she thinks I'm like the best thing that's ever happened
that's
to
awesome. That's what
this
you want.
planet.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, like, there's
To
nothing
her.
I could do wrong.
Which is all you want.
And my dad is, like, I don't want to say the opposite, but, like, I remember I was in a play in high school, and my mom, like, brought me flowers, and, like, she was just like, that was, like, the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I looked at my dad, and he said, your character could have been more believable. And, like, that's kind of...
Dad, I was in Oklahoma. What do you really want?
Yeah.
I can't really be a prospector.
But, you know, I feel like that helps. I think
it totally does.
you need both.
Mm-hmm. I think for one that you know that whatever you do, you're not going to be looked at bad, but you also want to strive a lot harder to get that acceptance from your father, you know.
It's a delusional balance. I mean, you don't want to be all the way positive or negative.
Mm-mm. So you did some theater then, and
I was the drama star.
Nice.
I thought I was like a Hollywood actor in high school. Because I was...
What state was it? Where was this in?
California.
California.
At this
cool.
point, I was in California, and I was the lead role in every play I was ever in. And so from sophomore to senior, I was always the lead role. So my brother was the most popular kid in school. So I had like honorary, like I could be the popular guy, like just from that if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those people were kind of douchey, and you know, it wasn't my scene. But I walked around like I was, dude. Like I was George
God's
Clooney.
gift to
like,
film.
Yeah, like do not look me in the eye. Like, you know,
just handing out your writer to teachers and stuff. You're like, this is what I need for this class.
And I found out nobody really cared, not even my dad. And my brother never went to see one of my plays.
Whoa.
We were in high school together. But to me, it was like a big moment. It was like I always kind of knew that I was gonna do something. Yeah,
and do something different that a lot of other people don't do. I mean, theater's super hard. I mean, the one play I was in, I missed, like, I skipped a line on accident, and it skipped like 4 pages of this entire play. Like, I didn't have it. But like some people, I think that's cool that you got into something performance oriented right away, early in life, because I'm sure that has shaped you like crazy.
It probably did, and you know, it's like comedy, and we can get into it. That I wasn't into theater at all, and this is kind of a theme. I don't know what it is. It's kind of a theme in my life, where like I had no interest in theater, so the people in drama would talk about like these plays. You brought up a play like Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never seen a play.
I barely do. I heard the name somewhere.
I've never seen a music. I've seen Lion King once.
Cool.
I don't know anything about plays. I have no interest in plays, and I was that guy.
Whoa.
And so I was like the guy who couldn't have cared less, who was just like, let's do this. And I would try to mess people up on stage and get them to start laughing.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about.
So, when you got the laughs, too, because I've heard other people that have started in theater, and, like, once they get that, they do, like, a comic role, or they get something when the crowd laughs, like, people are like, oh, that's it. they didn't necessarily want the theater, but they knew that when people are laughing, like that's what I was going after.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for me, it wasn't about like necessarily the performance. It was about the adulation,
The street cred.
It was just the fun part. Like we used to do rallies, like high school rallies. I remember one time we did when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was a thing.
Oh, that's fun.
I played Regis.
Heck yeah. Regis.
I made fun of our principal so much that we got banned from doing any rallies. And at the end, I remember like, hey guys, wasn't that amazing? And everybody in the class like hated me.
Really?
Because I'm the one who got us banned, and for some reason I thought that was like you said, street cred.
Yeah.
Like high five me over here.
You're like Daddy nailed it, and
dude,
I'm getting nothing over here.
We're the cool kids. Like we just got banned.
That's insane. What do you think? What do you think it was? Do you think that it was just that he didn't like getting made fun of, or he just wasn't ready for what was actually happening?
I hate to say this. I don't remember. It might have been a gay joke. I don't remember.
I bet it was a gay joke.
He was a little flamboyant.
Can we be honest? I bet it was a gay joke.
I think I might have made a gay joke.
I'm sure you made a gay joke.
Now look, he was married.
Yeah.
But I took it a little far. Probably,
yeah.
On purpose, and that's what happened.
That's. All right. So you did that. You did the play stuff. What part of California were you living at this time?
I was outside of Berkeley, about 20 minutes over the Berkeley Hills.
Really? How did that happen? How did you guys end up being out there?
Family moved from Puerto Rico to North Carolina to New York, all before I was like maybe 5.
Jesus.
And then my dad just kept traveling, and then we moved out to Northern California. He got a job out there, and so we stayed. I was mostly raised there.
So you went to high school? Where'd you go to college at?
I went to UCLA at first,
cool.
And then I moved down to LA, and then I ended up finishing. The reason I moved out here is to finish here.
Oh, so you finished? So you started off a little bit in LA, and then moved out to Denver. That's wild.
I took about 7, maybe 6 years in between.
Crazy. What had brought you out to Denver then? You just because it couldn't be really, really different scenes.
It was one of the most random and best decisions I ever made. I couldn't give you a strong reason why.
Just an intuition almost.
I knew a lot of people that had moved out here from California, and I just thought, why not move to Boulder? That's where people go.
Yeah.
And let me check it out. And I didn't ski or snowboard.
Of course, neither I moved up here. Not the same way.
And and people still think that's weird.
I know that. Yeah.
Like 6 years. And I moved out here on a whim with my dog. I didn't have a place to stay, and I missed orientation, and school started the next day.
Whoa.
And so,
how old were you at this point? Because you dropped out for 5 or
probably 26.
Wow.
Yeah. And I started. I looked at it as like I started my life over.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't totally happy with some of the things I had done between the end of high school and that point.
Yeah.
And I was starting everything over.
Crazy, which is a big step too. But I also think a lot of people that I know that do that several times always end up a lot stronger because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have any friends out here. You don't know a single soul out here. You have to be able to restart and be able to do this, or else where are you going to be?
I mean, the difference between these last 6 years, 7 years, and the years after high school to when I moved here it's incredible. It's two different people.
What? So you were going throughout. So you were living in LA, going to UCLA. What would you major in out there?
I didn't, because I was only taking classes here and there. I was.
Oh, so you're sporadic.
I was
just working a day job, or
no? But I was a bouncer at UCLA's bar, and did that for 4 or 5 years, and I ended up
put out a bouncer vibe.
Yeah.
Is that a compliment or not? I don't know.
The funny thing is, all the bouncers at UCLA were like really. It was like you wouldn't think of them as.
I bounced for a little bit in Missouri, and I weigh like $150.
Right, but they were like smart. Like one of the guys who was bouncing was like an astrophysicist. I mean, and so
I'm gonna kick you out and teach you something.
Right, and so I started bar backing, and I got some kind of jobs like that. I worked at the Bel Air Country Club for a couple years, and I didn't have any support from home.
Yeah,
and so the school just kind of took a back seat to me just supporting myself barely.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely. I went all the way through school and barely snuck by and just eventually graduate, like on the skin of my teeth, barely. I just wanted to get it over with, but I found a lot of people that do take the time off, come back a lot stronger, and actually want to get it done. Because the last year of college, I was great, but I was mature at that point. And I bet taking a couple years off, you could realign your priorities and know what you want.
Absolutely. I remember when I went back, when I first started at CU, so I had gone from being maybe like a C and maybe B- student to being at the top of my class. And when I went to CU, I was coming from shitty server jobs in LA where I was a nobody and I wasn't making any money, and it was just awful.
Oh yeah.
And I knew that I was bigger than that. And
cool.
And when I went to CU, when I started going to college full time, I finally felt like I had an opportunity to show myself. Yeah. And to be like, well, here's my chance. Mm-hmm. And so, people actually give you the opportunity to come up with your own ideas and read what you write.
What were you majoring in there at that point?
There, I started out in political science. What? Ended up going to psychology and philosophy.
Okay.
And
just a heady guy.
Yeah, I remember a biological psychology professor. When I first went there, he said to me, I wish more students would take a break like you. Because he said, we get people straight from high school, they're kind of burnt out, and here you are, wanting to know everything. That's and ask crazy. Questions. Yeah. I mean, I was the guy who I would go to office hours.
Yeah, me too. The last couple of years, yeah,
every week, and I was the guy where it was even though this doesn't matter for this class, I have questions.
If you're paying for it, you should be able to really grasp all the knowledge that you want.
Yeah, I mean, I loved school so much that I ended up basically getting kicked out because what happened was, since I was over 24, if you're in state, you'll get grants. And since I didn't have any support from home, I was getting paid to go to school.
That's pretty dope.
And so my brother did this at Berkeley too, and the same thing happened to him. And so I was getting paid to go to school, and then what they do is they count credits. I had almost enough credits to get 3 bachelor degrees. And finally and so there was this one class I needed to graduate, but I wouldn't take it on purpose. So I would push it away because I never wanted to go to work. My goal was to never have a job.
It's because you're the best.
Yeah. And and so I kept putting that course off, and finally they said, you need to
You're
leave.
Taking it. We enrolled you in it.
You either need to take it or you need to leave.
That's too much. But I mean, that's one of those things where it's on their dime or it's on the taxpayer's dime or whatever it is at that point. But which is crazy because now you can sit in at a later time in life in audit classes too. So you'd think at that point that they'd just be like, we enjoy having you here, especially somebody pushing these other students that are probably not doing anything. So you finally graduated. What was the final degree that you graduated with? Philosophy. That's pretty cool. So then what was the step after that? You didn't want to leave. You were in Boulder.
I was doing grad classes. Started doing grad classes in philosophy, and I just ended up deciding I didn't want to. I mean, the only path is to be a professor of philosophy.
Yeah.
Not much else coming your way.
No, which is a certain choice.
Yeah, and so I decided that wasn't for me. Even though I still love philosophy.
Yeah, and I mean, you could probably go back at one of these days if you ever wanted to. I mean, you probably got enough credits, have a little something.
It's true.
2 credits away from a master's already. I just got to go get them.
And so I figured out a way to not have to work, and that has taken me to where I am about 6 years later.
Which is crazy. So that was kind of the reason that I brought you on this thing, is because you are a guy that does not go into an office and clock in every day, kind of lives life on his own terms, but still finds a way to make money. I'm still certain that you're a Russian drug front or a launderer of some sort, but you tell me it's all legitimate cash, which I believe. But that's the goal, I feel like, of so many people in life, and so many people either keep themselves from doing it or just don't think that they have what it takes to do that for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it should be the goal of your life. I remember recently I was telling a friend of mine, he's a CFO of a company. I was telling him that I was monitoring my hours, and I've started working about 5 hours more a week, and I was really proud of myself.
Yeah,
because I've never been a worker.
Yeah,
I was always the employee that I only got fired I think from one job, and that wasn't my fault. That was Bel Air Country Club.
Yeah,
but I would I should have been fired from all 15 jobs I've ever had. I am the worst employee of menial type jobs, and I remember being so proud that I had worked an extra 5 hours than I had usually, which would be 8 total hours in a week.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend going, I don't understand why that's a good thing. Shouldn't you be trying to work less? And I thought,
that's the most American one.
Yeah, you're right. Because you can work less and make more if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done.
That blows my mind. Yeah, because you're one of honestly, there's a few other people I know across the country that do similar stuff to you, but it definitely is a small percentage of people that are able to do what you do.
Well, I don't know about able.
Mm-hmm. Willing or smart enough.
I don't know about that. I think that if a unique opportunity presents itself to you, that could happen. Here's the thing, though, Matt. Most people, even if a unique opportunity came their way, wouldn't recognize it. And I was that way, I think, for most of my life, where most people would take that idea and just be like, oh, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody better is going to come out with that. Have you ever come out with an idea before and then you see that it's a huge idea?
Oh, yeah.
I think we've all done that.
Yeah.
Is I would think of ideas like Twitter in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to come up with.
Yeah.
You just kind of think about, for example, I remember I was so proud of myself. One of my brothers went to Cornell, and he had to present for this business competition. And he said, dude, what is a good business idea? This is 1996. I'm
awesome.
a young dude.
Yeah.
Internet's just starting out.
Of course.
And I'm an ideas guy.
Definitely.
And so I said, I worked at a gym. Why don't we do online personal training?
Yeah.
The only thing that exists at this time is Matt's personal training.
Yeah.
And you have no idea who Matt is.
No.
You don't know. He could live in his mom's basement.
Of course. He probably does now.
Yeah. Right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to certify this. We're going to make it a real thing. It's going to be huge. And I came up with this whole business plan. And of course, the venture capitalists at Cornell said, nah, it's not a very good idea.
Now it's a big thing.
And now I think I'm the greatest guy in the world because now later it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
But then one of my brothers was like, dude, all you did was take an industry that existed and added the word online.
It's true.
I mean, it's really not that.
It's the execution at that point that divides what actually happens because there's so much logistics and execution.
Because I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They said no, and I went, okay, they must be right.
Yeah.
But you know what? Most people are stupid.
Dummies.
So when they said no, of course they're going to say no.
Yeah, of course they are.
Unless it beats them over the head.
And they don't have an immediate return off that. You're looking at longevity. You're looking at years and years. You're looking at diminishing returns until you finally get into the black after 5 years or whatever it is.
So, yeah, my philosophy is most people can do far greater things than they're doing, but they have to learn to get out of their own way. And the way we get in our own way is with our limiting beliefs that are just such bullshit that we learn, whether it's from parents or other children or from teachers, psychologists.
Yeah.
We learned that, it takes degrees and hard work. And you know what? For every excuse you give me, I can point to hundreds of people who did it anyway.
Yeah. That's the biggest excuse I hear people all the time. I don't have the time. Make time. Everybody has time.
You know what? If you don't have time, that just means that you are incredibly inefficient.
Yeah. You are just that's a good point. Or you're just the hardest part is to sit down and write. I know as writers and stuff like that. It's one of these things that you don't in essence want to do this work. You have to force yourself to do it.
Yeah. We're talking comedy?
Right now, we're just talking actual work, too, like just sitting down and doing anything. I mean, you don't even want to go to work. You have to force yourself to go to work. But if you're going to do it, you might as well be the best at what you can do there.
It's true. It's true because, the thing is that and I wish I had known this earlier in life, is that if you're going to work at like a stupid job that you hate, it's better to be the best at it. And what I mean by it is even if you don't like the job, you have to be there and you have to do at least the minimum. And if you do the minimum, you're going to continue to hate your job.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If you become a rock star employee, you will magically begin to love your job.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you will start getting the praise you feel you deserve, and you will start seeing consequences of your actions, and things will come from that.
From keeping it positive.
And it's an attitude. It's an attitude.
Attitude
Exactly.
it
It's
is,
an attitude.
which I think is the best place to end off on part one. Everybody having a positive attitude, because it's easier to have a negative attitude, guys. I want to thank everybody for listening. Part one of Words with Wayman with Dylan Aames. Dylan, before we get out of here, you want to give your Twitter handle, your internet stuff, whatever you'd like to get, your social media stuff.
I'm sure it's just Dylan Aames, DylanAames. You'll figure it out.
He got it early. He got in early on Twitter, everybody. It's because he thought of the company before it was a company, guys. We want to thank you for listening to part one. As always, we'll be right back with part two. We will see you soon.